I had basically a blood vessel burst in my brain. So I was paralyzed completely from the neck down on my left-hand side. Antarctica is the world's largest desert for the entire trip. I was the only living, breathing thing at all. There's no time zones down there. With no darkness, you have no circadian rhythm. I was spending a lot of time basically worrying about, is my Achilles just going to snap? I'm Jonny Huntingdon, and I've just been awarded 3 Guinness World Records titles for the first ever disabled person to ski to the South Pole solo and unsupported, and the fastest of the same, and also for the furthest polar expedition done by a disabled person solo and unsupported. I went to the Royal Military Academy Sandhurst, which is an officer training college, in May of 2013. I commissioned from there in April of 2014, and then literally 8 weeks after that, sort of sustained my injury. June 2014, I had basically a blood vessel burst in my brain. So I was paralyzed completely from the neck down on my left-hand side. My entire army career was not quite 4 years. I spent 2.5 of that, in rehab. So really fortunate to have been afforded, amazing rehab by the military, etc., in the army at the time. But sort of long story short with it is that I still have quite a lot of residual paralysis down one side. So my left foot is completely paralyzed. My left ankle is more or less completely paralyzed. So, the further up you get, the better it gets. You can see my hand works pretty well when I'm just failing it around. But there is basically residual injury all the way down the left side of my body. As part of my recovery journey from my injury, I was introduced to a couple of military charities. One of which did Armed Forces Paris Snow Sports Team, which taught me how to ski and helps injured service personnel to rehabilitate through snow sports. And the other of which is the Adaptive Grand Slam, which gets not only actually sort of disabled military personnel, but it's a civilian charity as well. But they introduce basically disabled people to expeditionary stuff, hill walking, mountaineering, these kinds of things. So I was really fortunate to be afforded these opportunities at a point in my life actually where from, not only a physical point of view, but from a mental health stance, really needed them as well, actually. That's basically where I pretty much learned to ski, learned to do a lot of this slightly peculiar stuff that I now call a job. When you do these, you plan on losing quite a lot of weight. So I lost about 10 kilograms over the course of that sort of 46-day period. And so I had to basically put that on prior to going down. So I spent quite a long time, about best part of 9 months, really focused on sort of training and putting weight on and doing all of these things. So you fly from the UK to Punta Arenas in Chile. So you fly into Santiago, transfer from there. It's still about another 4.5-hour flight from Santiago to Punta, because Punta's right on the southerly tip of Chile. So it's pretty much the closest city you'll get to Antarctica itself. I then spent about a week in Punta, so you're sorting all your food out, freeze drying it, backpacking everything, blah blah blah. So lots and lots of admin to do, because I got my kit shipped there I think it was about a month before I went down there. So sort of reunited with this absolute sort of gang of kit, which you then have to deal with. So you sort of spend a week basically stuck in an apartment doing all of this. And then actually a really quick turnaround. You fly from Punta to Union Glacier. I was at Union Glacier for about, I want to say 48 hours before the exped sort of started, and it was right, flying to your start point today. So the journey itself took just under 46 days. You are completely alone, and it's quite a disconcerting thing. And even weeks into it, because the thing is, there's just nothing alive down there. So the one that used to get me was whenever you put your ski pole into the ice, every now and again it'll squeak when it rotates a bit, and you immediately look up because you think it's a seagull or something. And it's 2 weeks into the expedition, we're still looking for seagull. You idiot, you know there's nothing here. So where I was starting, which is the inner coastal start, there's a 800 kilometers of ice out towards the sea beyond where I was. So I was not even anywhere near any of the penguin colonies. So literally for the entire trip, I was the only living, breathing thing at all. Antarctica is the world's largest desert. What that means is because there's so little moisture there, it's incredibly, the air's very, very dry indeed, which is actually one of the reasons why it, despite being incredibly cold, it kind of doesn't feel as cold compared to what the equivalent temperature in the UK would feel like. That constant sunlight, 24-hour sunlight, that causes the snow to melt. But actually when the snow melts down there, the water evaporates and you get left with these powder crystals, which feel like grains of sand. They don't feel like snow. It feels like you're skiing up a beach. From an expeditionist point of view, it was awful.
Today's just been horrendous, genuinely horrific snow. Sort of powdery and sticky. 22.5 kilometers took me 11.5 hours today, and it was just a grizz all the way.
There's no time zones down there, and you basically, what most people do is just pick a time zone. Most of us use Chile because the camp that you have to be in contact with are on Chilean time, so fine. Some of the people attempting speed records and stuff were working to a 30-hour day because they just wanted to ski for longer and sleep the same. I worked to a really standard 24-hour day. It just seemed sensible to not overcomplicate things for myself. With no darkness, you have no circadian rhythm. So you can take your sleep mask off and that's literally all you're using to differentiate between day and night basically. As soon as that sleep mask comes off, you're awake. The only thing that really that didn't go pretty smoothly actually was the fact that because my right leg was having to do so much work because my left simply doesn't, I basically started developing a bit of Achilles tendonitis towards the end of the third week.
The snow's been really soft, so moving for the last few weeks has been really quite hard work. I've probably taken more wear and tear than one might have hoped at this stage.
When you're just skiing for 12 hours a day with no stimulation and nothing to kind of think about really, I was spending a lot of time basically worrying about, is my Achilles just going to snap? And then that's, that at that point, is that game over? I don't know how one limps with both legs, but figure it out. But other than that, in all honesty, actually, whether through luck or judgment, who knows, but everything went really smoothly. I mean, we really didn't have any problems. So you can see the South Pole camp from about 18 kilometers away. You are pretty confident by that point it's going to be your last day on the ice. And from my point of view, it kind of had to be, because I only had 24 hours worth of food left. We are now going to ski until we get there. I think you are so tired by that point that there was certainly no prospect in my case of a sprint finish or anything. And you're not allowed to ski straight to the South Pole. You have to ski to a signpost called the West Waypoint and then into the poles, so you don't disrupt scientists who are doing something actually important down there. Having been able to navigate to some random waypoint in the middle of Antarctica and then you just turn left of it, and doing that for 250 kilometers at a time for the last month and a half. So that was slightly nervous because your GPS has just stopped. It just doesn't work. Everything is contingent on you hitting this signpost that's in the middle of nowhere. And so all you're doing is thinking, right, whatever you do, don't mess it up now. I really enjoyed, and I appreciate it's a cliche, but I really enjoyed the journey itself. I think what a privilege to be able to be on, the most unique continent in the world on your own. Because you don't have any external interference, you have no worries. So you can focus entirely on being present, and I loved that because it meant that I kind of feel that I got to experience that continent to the fullest extent possible. And like I say, what a privilege that is. If one person with a disability considers something that they had previously thought they weren't able to do, if one person considers doing that thing or trying that thing, that's why I do this.